Bernd Boente is Adam's equivalent at K2, the Klitschko's promotional arm. Bernd, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate your time, Bernd. Listen, we are hugely disappointed by this news over in Britain. Can you give us some good news? Do you see this fight being rescheduled?
At the moment, that's very hard to say because we have to wait. 1 second, I hear my voice back and forth. Can you change that?
Yeah, can we get rid of Bernd's echo? Is that any better, Bernd? Say something.
Hello, hello? No, it's still on.
Okay, we'll try and do that, Bernd, if you can. If my technical people can try and get to the bottom of that, Bernd, just bear with me. We are live here in the UK.
Okay.
Bernd, is the echo still there, Bernd?
1, 2, 3.
Is it still there,
Bernd?
Bernd?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, listen, Bernd, can I just ask you 1 or 2 questions? If the David Haye 3-week cancellation is unacceptable to you, will you fight Chagaev or somebody else?
At the moment, the priority is Ruslan Chagaev because Wladimir does not want to wait any longer. We waited till June. Before we wanted to fight March, April, but because of Stamford Bridge and the promises, we already waited till June. And then we don't know if he's really ready on July 11. It could be that he hurts himself on the back again, and then we have the same problem. But the most important question at the moment is RTL, our German TV partner, ready to accept 3 weeks later? Because we have already vacation time in Germany, and that's also another question. So it's still a possibility, but our first priority at the moment is Ruslan Chagaev. But also that is not a done deal.
No, it's not a done deal. Let me say this. Let me ask you this. If you had to say it is 10%, 50%, or 90%, what is the percentage of the fight, in your opinion, with David Haye going ahead and pleasing RTL on July 11? What is the percentage chance, Bernd?
Yeah, I will not go into this percentage thing.
Okay,
at the moment, Vladimir's priority is Chagaev, but it could still happen that we do the fight 3 weeks later. But as said before, we have to wait and see because there are more questions than that. RTL, is HBO, for example, ready to do it 3 weeks later? It's not only Setanta. We have all these other TV stations.
Of course.
And that's the whole package, you know.
Okay, and now, Bernd, also, and I appreciate you staying on the line. You've got a terrible echo in here. I'm hearing that Evander Holyfield is also on the list. Ed Chambers is on the list, and various other fighters are throwing themselves at you. If it wasn't Chagaev, who's number 2 on your list? You can tell us, Bernd.
At the moment, I mean, we have, I think, 10 different fighters who get sent as males and wanted to go from Solis to Kevin Johnson and Minto, and I don't know, it's on and on and on, Michael Grant. But at the moment, we only exploring these 2 options and not talking about other fighters. At the moment, it's either Chagaev or Haye, June 20th or 3 weeks later.
Sorry, 1 second, Andy. When do you expect, Bernd, to make a decision, a final, definite press release decision? Bernd, you're an experienced man. You've been around a long time. When do you think that can happen?
I hope in the next 2 or 3 days.
And Bernd, if it was July 11, have you checked with the stadium? I know you've got to check RTL, you've got to check HBO, you've got to check everyone. Is the stadium okay, July 11?
Stadium would be okay. RTL, we don't know. HBO, we don't know. So that's a big question mark, you know.
Okay, Bernd, and finally, Bernd, is there anything in place to maybe help the British fans get their refunds back on the tickets? Do you know if there's anything, or am I thinking too far ahead for you?
Honestly, no, I have no answer on that.
Okay, sorry,
because they have bought the tickets, I think, through a ticket broker or a ticket agency. I think, sure, you can always give the tickets back if a fight is cancelled.
Okay,
and that's pretty normal, like in concerts or other events.
And the Chagaev, let me just confirm, if Chagaev fought Wladmir Klitschko, it would still be at the Veltins Arena, still be the same venue, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge and big fight. He's the WBA champion.
Massive.
He beat Nikolai Valuyev. I think that is the top fight we can do. And it's even for the ring championship. I got that confirmation from the ring, which is a big thing also in the US, as you know. So let's see.
Let's see. And but just one final question. if David Haye gets a green light from his specialist in London tomorrow, would you want him examined by an independent doctor, perhaps a German or a Ukrainian doctor?
Not a Ukrainian.
No,
I'm
being
be a
kind.
German probably.
Okay.
But we have to talk to our insurance. We definitely need a definite medical paper for our insurance, and then let's see.
Bernd, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. Let's hope next week we have you on and it's good news all round.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernd.
So, Alan
Let's
Booth
start.
has explained to us David's back will need at least 3 weeks rest, which asks question one, can he possibly be 100% at 3 weeks' notice? Because more than anything, fans in this country want to see David win the world title. We don't want David going in there unfit.
Sure.
Can he be fit on 3 weeks?
Well, Adam Booth, who is a fitness expert as well as a boxing coach and a boxing man through and through, he says he will be fit, fitness-wise. That side, if Adam tells me he's going to be fit, then I absolutely trust him, because you know he's an expert on the human body, so he understands, and he says yes. The big danger here, Andy, is that David Haye, let's not mince our words, he can find himself out in the wilderness. This is not a mandatory defence. This is a voluntary defence by Wladmir Klitschko. It's a defence that us at Setanta, the people at HBO, David Haye, K2 Bernd, and the fans, let's get it right, we've all made this fight happen. If this falls out of bed, it leaves David Haye in a bit of a wilderness, and let's not mince our words, okay? It's a slog to get back to where he is now.
Which is why you might worry that 3 weeks is feasible to get the fight on, but would David be rushed to make sure he gets the chance rather than risk having to wait 2 more years for the shot?
It's clear that Adam believes that his body would be up to it in 3 weeks, not up to 3 weeks. He is saying quite clearly July 11th, which is quite interesting because HBO have a history, as do Sky. When they have a big pay-per-view, they have a history of sticking a decent pay-per-view or a good pay-per-view the week before. July 11 could be Haye, could be Klitschko, a rescheduled fight, and then the following weekend, of course, it's the return of Mayweather against Juan Manuel Marquez. So they like that. There is a history, there's a solid history of those two things going arm in arm. And just to reiterate what Bernd said, every single American out there is throwing his hat in the ring. They fancy this. Evander Holyfield, Ed Chambers, we haven't heard from them, but Orlando Solis, the Cuban who's based out in Germany, he fancies it. Dan Goosen has ruled out Chris Arreola. Brian Minto, number 9 WBO, he fancies it big time, as does Kevin Johnson. They're all throwing their hat in the ring.
With the German audience, who've bought up probably 80% of these 65,000 tickets, except a Minto or an Arreola, do they want to see David Haye?
Andy, listen, this fight sold because David Haye had the 2 severed heads on the T-shirt, and anyone that tells you otherwise is a liar. They had this press conference at midday. They'd sold 27,000 by 5 o'clock at night. It stunned them. They thought they'd do 30,000 tickets. They've done up to 65,000, perhaps even more. Now, those fans won't get refunds because a lot of those tickets are €29, €39, €49. And I'm also hearing there are several places online, if people have bought them from certain agencies, where you can get a full refund. You can stick the tickets back in, get a refund, and get them delayed. I understand a lot of people have lost their flights, and some of those flights are expensive, and I understand a lot of people have also struggling to get refunds on hotels. You shouldn't struggle to get a refund on any hotel in this day and age. It should be 12 hours, 3 days at the most, sometimes only 3 hours. And let me just say, over the years, okay, thousands of other fight fans have found themselves stuck like this. It happens, okay?
Regarding television coverage here, this is an email from a new viewer. Patrick says, new to Setanta, particularly subscribed to us with the idea of watching David Haye against Wladmir Klitschko. He wants to know what will happen TV-wise if a substitute opponent is found for June the 20th. Yeah,
well, hopefully, well, not hopefully, Setanta, so I'm assured, will get that fight. On June 20, we're almost 100% sure that our Setanta angel will descend beautifully, fragrantly, and elegantly. Here we go. There's the angel. June 20th. Not necessarily hallelujah. I might have changed the lyrics to that one, personally.
So even if it isn't David Haye, which would be hugely disappointing for British boxing fans, we will see Vlad Klitschko on June the 20th.
Wladmir Klitschko against Chagaev is good. Wladmir Klitschko against Solis, which won't happen, that's really sexy. Kevin Johnson's okay. He's only, he's unbeaten in 23 or whatever it is, 22 and 0. But Chagaev and Klitschko is very, very good. And that is a possible, I'm convinced. Interesting, last night, when all this was going on, suddenly Klitschko came out with a comment on the Chagaev Wladmir fight, which we're going to talk about in a minute, which was cancelled. And he said, it's a farce. And what's just one more vaccination, asked Klitschko apropos of nothing last night, because that was obviously a reference to Chagaev's odd strain of hepatitis, or the virus that causes hepatitis B.
We will talk more about Chagaev
We shall indeed,
later in the show. There is plenty